Hi Harshal, good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Shriyal?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for joining us once again today. And a very good evening to all our attendees, and welcome to the Aesthetic Medicine Digital Series. Mr. Harshal Limaye, he's been with us the whole of this month as his sessions followed in a series. So, what began with a webinar on innovative marketing methods to explore amid the COVID-19 crisis was then followed by a session on how to find new patients for your practice. Last week, his webinar focused on how should an aesthetic medicine practice spend on marketing. And today, in our last session with Harshal Limai, the webinar will focus on the annual practice plan, your path to net profitability. So, especially for those who are joining us for the first time today, Mr. Harshal Limaye, he's the founder and CEO of Mktg.Doctor, an all in one practice growth platform that leverages 360-degree digital marketing strategies to acquire new patients, rearrange existing patients, improve patients' online experience, streamline the front desk, and justify marketing spend. He is a certified aesthetic consultant from the Aesthetic Academy USA. Once again, thank you, Harshal, for this entire series, for being with us. And I keep saying this, but yes, if you have missed any of our past webinars, do not forget to log on to our website. It's aestheticmed.in. We have our recorded sessions there. So if you have missed his previous session, you can catch up by just logging on to our website. At the end of your screen today, you would see two options, one of a chat box and one of a Q&A box. So if you have any suggestions for me for aesthetic medicine group for us, leave your suggestions in the chat box. This could be related to webinar topics that you look forward to or any particular expert or speaker that you want to hear through our webinars. And for Harshal, who is our speaker for today, for any questions that you may have for him, please key them in the Q&A box. So we will look at the Q&A box at the end of the session and we will take up the questions and he would respond to them. So the chat box is for your suggestions to aesthetic medicine and the Q&A box is for your questions to Harshal. And with that, over to you, Harshal.
Thank you, Shriyal. And I want to thank Aesthetic Medicine India for giving me this opportunity. I think it's been a great few weeks this month. Uh,
Yes.
this is part 4 of the session, the series, as you just said. Um, I do see a lot of familiar names here at the in the participants list, which is great. So I also see some new ones. So I'm going to welcome you all. And with that, let me just share my screen.
Sure. And I put my video off. I see you at the end of your session. Yeah.
Okay, great. Sure. All right. Awesome. All right. So Shriyal kind of gave you a little, she kind of gave you a little overview of what the webinars were. There's just a little bit more details. I'll just recap what we did so far this month. Part 1 was innovative marketing methods, where we discussed some basic essentials or 101s. We had some ideas about how to create content. You had plenty of time probably during the start of this month. We touched upon the marketing plan and some email marketing, social media marketing, and website. Part 2 was more about how to find new patients. So we went over the patient journey, how cross-channel marketing is effective in finding new patients. We walked through the framework that can help you plan your activities, the essentials in terms of your marketing assets that you need to focus on. We talked about the funnel, some ideas of how to build that funnel and convert those leads into patients. And then part 3 was more in terms of looking at marketing as an investment, right? So how much should you spend on marketing? How should you set the smart objectives? Understanding the real patient acquisition cost and return on investment. How to use Facebook and Google to maximize your spend, and then some ideas on how you can sustain and grow during this COVID period. So with that, today's topic is the last in the series, part 4, where we're going to uh, talk about net profitability, and we're going to talk about your marketing plan or your practice marketing plan, which will bring you or put you on a path to net profitability. All right, so your practice, right? I mean, think about your practice. What is your practice? Your practice is a small business, and if I ask you why did you start your practice, I might get a lot of different answers from different people. But in a sense, there's just one reason why you started your practice, right? And that reason is to create value. Um, when you say create value for your patients. So look at all those patients that you have treated. Most of them are happy now. They are happy about how they feel, how they look, and they're very grateful for your services, right? So you've created value there. You've created value for your employees and staff. So you're giving them an opportunity to make an earning. You're creating jobs in your local community. And of course, you're teaching them, training them with new techniques and procedures every day. And last but not the least, or actually the most important value that you're creating is for yourself as the owner of the practice, right? And that value is really in terms of the profits that you're generating. So at the end of the day, the profits or the net profits is what goes into your pockets as the owner. And generating enough profit or enough profits for your practice is important. And it's important because that just ensures that this practice remains valuable to you as an owner, right? So it's very important in that respect. So having set this stage, that's what our topic is going to be today, right? I mean, we'll discuss the right marketing plan that you can put for your practice, which will then put you on a path to net profitability. So let's begin. These are the topics that we will cover. We will first go over net profitability, and many of you probably know what that is, but I'll just kind of brush over some broad financials, and how do you look at net profitability. And the second thing we'll look at is how can you write, or how can you write your value proposition, or if you have a value proposition, if you want to change it, how do you change it in a very simple and effective way, right? I mean, there's a set standard, there's a set proven method, and I'll explain that to you. And then after that, we will look at what is a practice marketing plan and how does it impact your net profits. And then we'll discuss some ideas about how to make this plan, or if you already have this plan, then what changes you need to make on this plan to adapt to this COVID-19 crisis. So uh, let's first look at every business, right? I mean, every business has these four core components. So if you look at them closely, I mean, first one, revenue. So revenue sources is basically how do you make your money, what prices you charge, and that's the money that is coming in. The costs are, again, what does it cost you to provide those services? Or if you're providing any products, what does it cost you to provide those to your customers or your clients? And then the product or service is itself is, what benefit does it provide to your customers? And the customers, again, who are they and how do they interact with you, right? So do they interact with you in your clinic, offline basically, or they also interact with you online, right? Is it something that they do with you? They book an appointment with you online, or they buy something from your online retail store? That's something you need to understand. So having understood these four core components, let's take a close look at what happens to revenue, and how do you end up with what does it end up with, right? So this is a very oversimplified financial statement, if you will, for your practice. And at the top, you will see the revenues. That's all the money that is coming in. And then revenues minus your cost of goods is your gross profits, right? So really, this is where when I say cost of goods here, let's say if you're doing an injectables and there's a cost of the product that you're using, or fillers, or whatever that might be, right? So the cost of those products that you're using to provide that service. So you subtract that from revenues, you get your gross profits, and then you have this another big line item, which is the operating expense. And these are really the core expenses that you have to spend on to operate your practice, right? Such as you to pay you to pay salary, or payroll. Basically, you return a payroll to your staff. If you're drawing some salary, then you're going to pay yourself. You to spend on marketing. You're going to spend on the rent. So these are all the operating expenses. And now when you take all those gross profits, so gross profits minus the operating expense, what ends up is really the net profits, right? That's the net income, or that's the money that goes in the pocket as an owner. That's the money that you will be taxed on, etc., etc., right? So the reason I wanted to put this out is, if you notice, right? I mean, obviously you have the top lines. I mean, when you're talking about net profitability, you want to grow on the top, but you also want to grow on the bottom. When I say that, what that means is you're going to make sure that your expenses are low, so that you can end up with higher profits at the end of the day, right? So this is net profits, understanding net profits. And now let's look at the value proposition. So remember, I talked about your practice is creating value, right? So if you do not, if you, I can't emphasize how important it is to write down what is the value proposition for your practice. And you might have written it down sometime back. You might have to revisit it now. You might change your business model, whatever it is, right? I think it's very, very important. What is value proposition again, right? So value proposition is nothing but a formal method to clearly articulate what's the value that your practice is creating, right? So basically what that means is, what are the services and products you're offering? What is the benefit of that? Who's your target customer? Who's going to benefit from that? And what makes you unique? So if you remember this framework, for those who have joined us on the previous webinars, we talked about a marketing framework, and we talk about this who, what, and why, the circles in the center. And that's really your strategy of your practice, right? And if you look at value proposition is a great tool to identify this who, what, and why. So again, just to recap, I mean, who is again referring to who are your patients, understanding and segmenting your patients. What is really referring to what is it that you do the best? So what are the services that you offer and you do the best, basically, that you have an expertise on? And why again is why are you why are you doing all this, right? I mean, you're obviously, what is your objective, marketing objective in this case? So if you look at value proposition, this really will help you define these three things. But still, again, talking about all of this, it's not very simple. It's not very simple to write your value proposition. Um, it seems simple, but it's not very simple. So as we always do, I like to use templates. And here's one template that is one of my favorite. It's recommended by Jeffrey Moore in his book, Crossing the Chasm. Um, and the template goes like this, right? So there's 6 lines. There is the for, the who, the so let's just discuss each of them one by one. The for is really your poster child, or your target persona, right? Who is your client? That's the for. The who is really, so these people who are in this state of mind. Our is like our clinic. That is, what are your primary benefits? So what do you do? What your clinic does? So if you're a dermat and you're doing some skin related things, but you're also doing some fillers and injectables and cosmetic procedures. So what do you do? Unlike is comparing yourself to your competitor. And when you say competitor here, you need to really pick a competitor who is your equal or little better, right? I mean, not someone who is not your equal. That's not a fair comparison. And the last thing is our offer. So that just basically is your differentiation. So let's take an example here. I mean, I kind of gleaned this through. This is a very successful um, uh, clinic in Dubai. Some of you probably might recognize what this is. But basically, how does their value proposition look like? Or that this is my articulation of their value proposition from their website. So again, if you look at it, they're saying that, okay, for multicultural people across the globe who are looking for world-class experience in pre and post-surgery care, our all-in-one medical clinic or medical center that provides plastic surgery, skin and cosmetic procedures, dental, orthopedic, weight loss, and wellness solutions. Unlike any other clinic in the Middle East, our offer is that we provide one of its kind safety assurance cover up to, and they're actually even giving them an amount there that they're covering up to 50,000 dirhams as a safety assurance. So again, not every practice is like that. This is probably one of the very successful practice in Dubai. I always like to look at practices that are successful. You need to look at your practice, look at your objectives, your market, your services, your unique differentiator, and put this together. Right. So, so far what we covered is we understand that your practice is a small business which is creating value. We also understand that net profits are important to create this value for your enterprise. And we also know now how to write a value proposition for your practice. So the question is, why isn't your practice where you want it to be, right? And if you really look at it, I mean, practice owners are letting high potential of net profit slip through their hands every day. It's something that can be easily overlooked. But again, if you want to be successful, you have to watch your net profits, right? Because that is the value that you're creating for yourself. So now if you look at any business, there are these three areas that there are these three key areas that you need to focus on, which is finance, operations, and marketing. And today, what we will look into details is marketing, right? Because that's my expertise. So we look into marketing. So marketing, right? I mean, marketing for net profitability. So if you want to just look at marketing in terms of net profitability, uh, you know, there are these three strategies that are very important and useful. And let me walk through all of them, right? So the first one is obviously acquisition. So that what that means is you're trying to acquire new patients. The second one is retention, where you're trying to retain your current patients. And the third thing is really growth, which really I put in terms of the customer service. So if you look at these three things, um, you know, acquiring a new patient is much more expensive than keeping one, right? It's a fact. So I mean, you can put some numbers there. Maybe it's like 5 times more expensive. That's what the research says, but you know that it's expensive. So in this period, like particularly in this period, right? I mean, you have a huge asset for your practice, right? In terms of the past customers that you have, right? You're sitting probably on a database of your customers that you've treated over the years. Now, what I really recommend is you should mine your current client database and come up and tune your plan to bring those people back to your clinic. I mean, as you start opening up now, if you're in Mumbai, hopefully the lockdown is going to probably get over by the 31st. and you will start opening up your clinics. Elsewhere in India, I know that clinics have already started opening up. Elective surgeries have started. They started doing elective surgeries now. And now, how do you bring those patients back to your clinic? I mean, really think about your past patients, right? You mine your current database, that you're sitting on the huge gold mine. Use it. Again, right? Why? Because there's some research numbers here which say that if it's a loyal customer, if you have one already, they're 5 times as likely to repurchase something from you that they've purchased from before. They're 5 times more likely to forgive, 4 times more likely to refer, 7 times more likely to try a new offering. So that is where you have already built this database. Focus your marketing on them. Focus your operations on customer service as well, right? I mean, 1 out of 3 patients will never return if they just have one bad experience with you, right? I mean, it just takes one bad experience basically to turn them off. So again, if you want to keep growing, customer service is very important. Now, when you open up, you may also want to think about expanding your hours, right? I mean, you're gonna have to follow the social distancing. You're gonna have enough gaps between patient appointments so that you don't get overcrowded, or actually not even overcrowded. You just basically just don't have too many people in the clinic sitting in your clinic. So considering all those things, I mean, you may want to think about expanding your hours, right? Maybe giving more flexibility, right? Maybe if you're taking online appointments today, or if you're not taking online appointments today, that's a great thing to do as well. Um, you can do online patient forms. So try to think about everything contactless, right? Until the point where you have to actually just do the consultation or do the procedure. Um, so here are certain things that are so again, focus on retention. That is the strategy. Having said that, let's keep that in mind now, obviously. And now let's take a look at your practice marketing plan, right? And what is a practice marketing plan? So a practice marketing plan is nothing but it's a month by month plan of your marketing activities. So you just go month by month, you list them down, focus on a broad service each month. So let's say it could be face, it could be body, skin, hair, or feminine health. Focus on one per month. You need to factor in seasonality. You need to watch your revenue goals. And the best thing to do here is again look at your sales, look at your past sales, and list your top 3 services by revenue. So it might be some minimal invasive procedures that you've been doing, maybe injectables, maybe it's the RF microneedling, whatever it is for you, right? List down those top 3 services by revenue. When I say revenue, the services which make you the most money, the services that you do the most, basically, right? Which is going to make you the most money. And then you take that and cross promote them with the services that give you the highest profit margins, right? Again, remember, we're talking about net profitability here. So if there are a lot of people who are doing these 3 popular services with you, if you promote them to also try out something that gives you higher profits, that is going to just increase your profitability, right? I mean, that is what the idea is here. So some tips for how do you price your marketing offers? I mean, you can do package pricing, you can do cross promotions, you can do some seasonal events. Do this profit analysis, as I said, right? Profit analysis per service, and use that data when you're actually putting together this marketing offer. Obviously, try to sell services with higher profits. Utilize vendors. So there are a lot of times that there might be Allergan or some other vendor who might be willing to give some of their product as a promotion, which you can use on your patients. You can use that and use that for promoting, doing your marketing promotions, right? That'll help you with the cost part of it, because your vendor is obviously giving you that product to use. Um, there are some popular offers. Obviously, buy two get half on the third, buy five get six free. But really, try to focus on this cross promotions. So let's say if you're doing Botox and Botox is your top service, you can say buy 25 units of Botox, and then you can try to maybe promote your RF session, which is and give a free session of RF. Now, when you're putting these offers together, remember that the patient point of view, right? From the patient point of view, the patient should get enough value out of it. When I say that is at least 20%, maybe in this period, at least maybe 30%, 25%, 30% value. So what that really means is, I mean, if they're paying for 1,000 rupee procedure, give them something free which is worth 300 rupees or 250 rupees. That is how they're going to see that value, and that is how they're going to come to you, and your campaigns are going to be successful, right? So that is the overall plan, and these are the ingredients of what goes in the plan, right? I mean, there are so many combinations, there's so many things that you can play around with. I mean, there is flat offers, obviously, there are package offers, and there are cross promotions, there are referrals, there's membership, right? So this might be a good time to get promote these memberships for recurring kind of procedures like hydrofacials or IPL or things, laser hair removal. You can try to promote them and sell them with a membership and give some discounts with that membership. Memberships is a great idea because it just makes your clients sticky, right? I mean, once they're a member with you, they just keep coming back to you. So that remember that lifetime value that we talked about in the previous webinars. It's just that the patient coming to you, you just grow their lifetime value, and when you have a bigger lifetime value, you're going to get a better return on the investment that you made in marketing. So again, these are the different ingredients. Contests, try to use contests that again, start the contest on the first of the month and announce the winners at the end of the month, so that that's how you can just keep pace with it. So there are different programs of how you use all these ingredients, and how you use all these strategies and put together your practice marketing plan. But this program that is in front of you right now on your screen, this is the proven method that has worked. So what this says is, you try to look at your plan as a weekly, monthly, and a quarterly buckets. And when you look at weekly, do your social media, do your email blast. So send an email to your existing customers, one email every week. And what do you send them about? I mean, remember, try to focus on a broad service area, of a broad service every month. Like it might be a face, body, skin, hair, and focus on that for that month, right? And then use that same, create those promotions around it, and that's what you blast, right? That's what you blast to your current patients weekly. On a monthly basis, you can run it on Facebook contests. And then in terms of sales, try to limit these sales to once every quarter. Because again, see, if you are the kind of a clinic who's discounting every week and week after week, then you're just reducing the value of yourself, right, of your own practice. So you don't want to dilute that value. Instead of that, don't try to discount things. I would say cross promote, so that you get more services done. You get the same patient buying something and then doing something more with you, and that usually works well, right? So here are just some other things that you should be measuring, I mean, or looking at. So when you're making your plan, do your revenue goals by each service. So if it's injectables, lasers, body contouring, skin, whatever it is, right? What are you going to do in June? What's your goal for July, August, and so on and so forth? and also look at the profit margins for each of these service, right? Because that is important. So the right mix of services, as you can see in that chart, I mean, let's say if you're a plastic surgeon, maybe you're doing, body contouring procedures, surgical procedures. So maybe that's what you're doing a lot. And then you're mixing that with laser and injectables and some skin treatments, and maybe you're doing some retail. So that correct mix of services, a healthy mix is important. And when I say healthy, again, it's healthy to your profits, right? Watch your profits. Again, next thing is keep your expenses under control. Benchmark benchmark yourself, right? I mean, basically, how much are you spending for payroll every month? How much you're spending on marketing, how much you're spending on the rent, and you just want to plan it in such a way that at the end of the day, you are, as a clinic, as a successful clinic, you end up with at least 20 to 30% net profits, right? I mean, that's the value that you're creating, and that's why you're doing this. So other things you should keep measuring on your plan is how many leads you're generating every month, how many surgical cases you're doing every month, how many cases are booked every month, and again, when you're doing those cases, also try to measure them by different services. Um, and then any non-surgical patients that you're measure that coming to your clinic every month. So really, these are the ratios to watch for. I mean, there's this conversion ratio, closing ratio, and retention ratio. And just to talk a little bit about each of them, conversion is the leads. When the leads coming in, are they converting into a consult? So that is that conversion ratio. And if you're doing your marketing right, you should get a conversion ratio of up to 20%, right? I mean, 20% is something standard that you should get in terms of your conversion ratio. Closing ratio is after the consultation, how many of them are actually taking that procedure? And these ratios, I mean, the closing ratio should be pretty high. 50 is the minimum, 50%. I mean, you should really target like 70%, 80% to close at least 80% of the patients that you have a consult with, right? And then there's retention. So these are the ratios that you need to keep a watch on when you're looking at your plan. And lastly, just some ideas or how do you adapt to COVID-19? Again, there are two things that are important here. One is focus on existing or past patients, right? I mean, it's much cheaper to retain an existing patient or to bring them back with some kind of a marketing offer. I mean, make them an offer that they cannot refuse, right? I mean, bring them back. So focus on that. That is what number one. And again, number two is cross promote, right? Cross promote, mix those top revenue services with your high profitability services. So with this, that's the end of the presentation section of this session, and I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and Sheil, back to you if there are any questions.
I think that was a very good session, Harshal. Thank you so much. Very articulate, and I think the way you even started it took us to a complete, flashback of what we already did and got in the flow perfect. So, to all our attendees, this is your time for any queries, any questions that you have. Even if probably they've missed the previous session, and if they have some questions from there from Harshal's beginning slide, we could even have that discussed. So, like I had mentioned, we have the Q&A box. Please key in your questions over there. I see a few participants raising their hands, but if you have any questions, put it into the Q&A or chat box. We'll take it from there. So, just to give our attendees a little more time, what I'll do is in the meanwhile, I'll share an update with you. On May 30th, that is the coming Saturday at 7 p.m., we have Dr. Anil Ganju. He is a senior consultant dermatologist and laser surgeon and director of Skinnovation Clinics from New Delhi. He will be joining us live. His session will focus on fractional resurfacing evolution, CO2 fractional to nanofractional RF. So do block your calendars for May 30th, the coming Saturday at 7 p.m. with Dr. Anil Ganju. you will receive an email from our end with the registration link for the webinar. But just ensure you keep that 7 to 8 slot blocked so that you could be with us for his technical session. And in the meanwhile, I see well, Harshal, that's good compliments for you. Excellent session, nice presentation, excellent. Thank you, everybody. I see one question in the Q&A box. Yes, is marketing online going to get cheaper in this COVID times?
Marketing online going to get cheaper? I mean, see, just during this COVID period itself, if by marketing, if you are referring to advertising, then yes, the ad rates, they're already gone down. We noticed that the ad rates were down in the last 2 months, and that's obviously because people were home, brands were pulling out of their regular ads. They couldn't sell as much to people who were sitting at home. Obviously, they had to change those ads to something that they could sell them online. So brands were pulling out, and ad rates had gone down. Now what will happen after this is again yet to be seen, right? But yes, in general, this is a good time to run ads, right? And do that marketing.
And there is a question from Milan Doshi. I think you had mentioned a conversion ratio of 70% in your presentation. So his
Right.
question is that for cosmetic surgery or cosmetic treatment?
Yeah, so basically, it is for what you do. I mean, again, and when I mentioned that 70%, what I was saying is that was the closing ratio. So if you are consulting with a patient, and the patient comes to you, and obviously probably if it's a surgical procedure, they're probably already paying you some consultation fee. Maybe it's 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees or whatever it might be. So they are obviously very serious to do what they're doing. So at that point, right, when they're talking to you, a good standard to go by is, yes, to minimum 50% you should close, obviously, but a good standard is to hit that 70 to 80% closing ratio. So it really falls back in your funnel, right? I mean, how good, what good quality leads are you getting? How are they actually converting into appointments? And then when the appointments are happening for this, the consultations, how are they closing into procedures that are done?
Yes. Any more questions? We have one of our attendees saying complex topic. After you talk, I feel we should take help of a professional. So in that case, I would suggest please write it to me. I would be happy to connect you with Harshal, and you could certainly take his support in planning your marketing strategies, right, Harshal?
Sure,
So
yeah, absolutely. Will be glad to
yes.
help
So you would
anyone.
receive, all of you would receive an email from me post this session. So let me know if you'd like to take professional help and I could help you all get connected. Okay, what will be the impact on medical tourism at present and in the coming few months, and how can we revive it?
Yeah, that's a that's a very tough question, right? I mean, tourism involves travel, obviously, and nobody's traveling right now. Um, I guess if your practice is if a lot of your revenue of your practice is based on medical tourism, my honest advice to you is you should start to look at doing other things as well, right? And not just bank on medical tourism, because to be honest with you, traveling just for pleasure is questionable through the end of this year. So traveling to get surgery, I mean, I think no one is going to do that. Nobody is going to do that, right? Because you're again going outside your, you're going to some different country and getting an operation done or getting a procedure done, and you don't know what their medical systems are. Yeah, you don't know whether you have your insurance in your country. So thinking in the point of view of the patients, I mean, I'll be glad that if they come and do any medical tourism in this year, but I'm just saying that just thinking in terms of their point of view, it's a tough one, right? So you should try to look at other revenue sources if that is your main revenue source.
For plastic surgical clients who have consulted but are taking time to go for a surgery, can we go back to them and reduce our charges? As in, will it not dilute our credential? So, how do we go about with it? And if you have any tips.
Yeah, so I think the reducing your charges is the last thing that you want to do, right? Because that is, again, as you rightly said, that is devaluing or diluting your value, really. But there are certain options you can give them, right? For example, let's say there's someone, you said surgery, so let's say someone is coming for rhinoplasty, or someone is wants to do a rhinoplasty. Maybe you could try to suggest some non-surgical ways of doing rhinoplasty. I mean, basically fillers and whatever you guys use, right, to kind of fix the shape of the nose. Or I'm just giving an example. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just basically, what I'm trying to say is try to suggest something that is less invasive or non-invasive or minimally invasive. And I have a client here in the US who does hair transplants, and he knows that he's not going to get any hair transplant surgeries in the near future. So obviously his tactic is he's obviously trying to he's trying to treat patients more medically. So either it's the vitamin therapy, nutrition, those kind of things, or he's also trying to do some PRP and focusing on that more. So, instead of dropping your price, change the service, right? Give them an alternative and ask them to see if that works for them.
Which social media platform is most rewarding for online marketing? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? What are your suggestions? I think you've
All of
kind
them,
of touched
actually.
upon this in the last session, but
All of them are rewarding if you do them right, right? Because every platform has a different audience. Every platform has a different format, you know. So you got to just kind of recognize that every platform is made to do different things and use them appropriately.
great. So I don't see any more questions coming. With that, I would also like to remind you all once again, all of Harshal's past webinars with us is available on our website. So if you want to go back to from where this entire series started and follow the series once again, because that would give you a complete picture to your business and how to take your marketing forward. So log on to our website. It's aestheticmed.in. I'm also typing it on to the chat box. Aestheticmed.in. Yeah, so that's our website. Log in there. You would get all the recordings. Once you see the video, you click on it, you go to our YouTube page. So do not forget to subscribe. That would help you stay in tune with all our sessions, because we also restream live on our YouTube page while we are on Zoom. So that would keep you, in loop with everything that we're doing. Aesthetic Medicine is also on Facebook and Instagram. So do like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. You could spot us there by just typing Aesthetic Medicine India. And once again, Harshal, thank you so much. It's been a great experience doing this series with you. And look forward, probably we'll come with a phase two sometime, later with some more new ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a pleasure on my side as well to work with aesthetic medicine and with you, Shreya, specifically. You've been a charm to work with,
Thank you so
and
much.
it has been a nice few weeks. I think the participants also, had some great questions.
Yes.
And again, as Shreya has said, reach out to her if you need any help, or you can write to me directly at help@Mktg.Doctor. Send me an email there, and I'll be happy to help.
Yeah, so with that, we bring this session to an end. So thank you, everybody. Take care, stay safe. And like I mentioned, 30th May, 7 p.m. is our next webinar. So do not forget to stay live with us. Thank you so much.